Thank you, Chairman. On July 21st of 2020, you sent a letter to this committee stating that while you agreed to appear at the committee's open worldwide threat hearing as DNI, as Director of National Intelligence, that you would not take any questions in open session. And you wrote that letter despite committing twice in your confirmation hearing that you would appear and answer questions. So obviously, this position is one that requires congressional oversight. And I don't think any of us up here would ever ask you to answer questions in a way that revealed anything that was classified or was more appropriate for closed session. So I want to ask you why you thought that was appropriate. And then today, can you commit that if confirmed, you will appear at this committee's annual open hearing on worldwide threats and take questions from the committee itself?
Senator, thanks for the question. I think there was a slight mischaracterization that I didn't refuse. I made a proposal about how to handle the worldwide threats hearing. I did that for a number of reasons. First of all, I did it at that time as DNI, which, as you know, the DNI speaks for the entire intelligence community. My proposal was actually a reflection of multiple leaders across the intelligence community who shared my opinion that other countries don't hold public hearings like that where we discuss sensitive national security information. And the problem isn't in terms of you asking questions about classified material. The issue comes up in terms of being put on the spot to provide an answer where sometimes you might inadvertently provide information that is classified because you don't recall whether it's at what level or if it's classified at all. So that's the danger, and that has happened. So that explains how I approach that issue. What I would say is this, I'm being considered for the CIA director, which is not the head of the intelligence community. And I understand, notwithstanding my opinion about how the worldwide threat assessment hearing should take place, that the committee, and I learned from that, disagrees, didn't want that proposal. So that would not be an issue if I'm confirmed as CIA director.
So you will come and take appropriate questions?
Yes.
Let me ask you, and you answered, Mr. Ratcliffe, this question in writing, but I think it's important for the American people and frankly for the world to hear your answer in an open hearing as well. Section 1045 of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2016 prohibited the use of any interrogation technique that was not authorized in the Army Field Manual. Will you abide by this law?
Yes.
In your answers to the committee questions, you wrote that the CIA must, and this is a quote from you, CIA must help rebuild public confidence in the intelligence community in the wake of prior abuses, end quote. And you reference that on a number of different occasions in your answers. So I've frankly never been one to shy away from criticizing either the IC or the CIA when I felt it was appropriate. But I think most of us up here can agree that on the whole, the CIA's men and women produce the finest intelligence in the world with a great deal of objectivity and integrity. And if there is a lack of public confidence, it's because it's become too easy for some elected officials to throw around terms like the deep state. So if you're confirmed, what precisely would you do to help rebuild public confidence in the agency, and where do you see that necessary and appropriate?
Well, thank you, Senator, for the question. I think it's the things that we've talked about already, and some of it you may not have been present for, but in terms of leading by example, if confirmed as the CIA director, I went through a series of examples where I talked about speaking truth to power and the importance of that and setting the right example. And in connection with that. So I think that's essentially how I would go about it, is to lead by example.